Put yourself in position to win big on Kentucky Derby Day with the power of daily racing form. Visit shop.drf.com and get past performances, expert picks, betting strategies, clock reports, and more. Again, that's shop.drf.com. Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, taking a look at Continuar, a Kentucky Derby contender from Japan. We'll take a closer look at Continuar, who qualified for the Derby by winning the Japan Road to the Kentucky Derby Series. He had the most points. He won the Cattleya Stakes, 3 starts back going a mile. Watching that race, he looked very comfortable, Mike. He sort of settled in mid-pack outside. He wasn't asked for his best until the quarter pole, and then he sort of grinded down that field in the manner of a horse that would really want a lot of distance.
Yeah, I feel the same way when I watch his races, that he seems like a horse who, maybe a little bit more than some of the others heading into the Kentucky Derby will really appreciate some added ground. Of course, that wasn't the case in his most recent start, the UAE Derby at 1 3/16 miles. But I'm not sure that that's the kind of race that you really want to judge his distance capabilities off of.
His 2 starts this year have come against the other Japanese-based Kentucky Derby contender, Derma Sotogake, and he finished behind that horse in both the Saudi Derby and the UAE Derby, and they've been working together at Churchill Downs, and Derma Sotogake's got the better of Continuar. It could be fair to just simply say that Derma Sotogake is a better horse.
Yeah, I think that's probably how a lot of people are looking at it. It feels like Derma Sotogake has a pretty big following here, a little bit of buzz about him as we head into the Kentucky Derby. Of course, I think it's only fair to also point out, Dan, that they raced against each other early on last November, and it was very, very close between them at the end. It hasn't been close the last 2 times, but again, I feel like maybe there are mitigating circumstances there.
Let's talk about the Saudi Derby. That was his first start of the year. Maybe a mile was a little bit short for this horse, a little bit sharp. And again, that surface, I think, can be a little bit funky for shippers. I'm not sure Continuar really loved it.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. I agree with your prior point too, that the shorter distance may not have really been what he really wants in that race. He just has that sort of grinding style. He doesn't have that instant acceleration that some other horses do. The UAE Derby, when they stretched him out, there was never a point in that race that it looked like he was going to win, but I'm not really sure he had a fair chance in there, Dan. That was a merry-go-round.
That was not only a merry-go-round, but it seemed the inside was very, very good in the UAE Derby. And Derma Sotogake, who broke from the rail, just went right to the front and to the lead. And as you mentioned, Duro Rede, another Japanese horse, was sitting in second. Continuar was sort of hung out 3 wide, might have been up against Flow and Bias.
Yeah, it feels like that's a fair way to look at it. Listen, it's still hard to say just how good this horse is. And so I don't know if you want to give him some kind of huge excuse last time, but I really didn't feel like he had a fair chance to win that race. Either way, he still just kind of feels like, if nothing else, he just feels like a wild card on Derby Day.
From a pedigree standpoint, you really can't ask for anything more. This horse sold for $635,000 as a yearling in Japan. His sire, Dre Fong, won the Breeders' Cup Sprint, obviously bringing a lot of durability. His dam's a half-sister to one of the best horses we've seen in Japan in recent years. That's Almond Eye, just a very classy horse on the turf. So a lot of pedigree things to like, maybe a little bit dirtied up on form, but still, from what we've seen, this horse has really got to improve to win the Derby. He will be a giant price.